What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Other Side of the Firewall podcast, where we highlight the latest and greatest in cybersecurity news, as well as we highlight those movers and shakers and glass ceiling breakers, those people of color who have made it to the other side of the proverbial firewall. My name is Ryan Williams, and as always, I'm joined by LeVon Maynard
Hello.
and Shannon Tynes.
What's up? What's up?
It was almost perfect, and then I flipped the names.
I was gonna say you did it
It
backwards.
was almost a perfect, almost
I was
a
ready
perfect
for
intro.
it.
I almost had it. Maybe the last episode I get it in there. But so this week, again, Monday and Tuesday, you'll get our latest and greatest topics. Wednesday, it'll either be our interview with Ms. Aisha Hollins of eCISO, or it'll be Ask a CSP. Just depends on how quickly I work. So if it's not up there, I'm sorry, I'm lazy. But today, on Thursdays, we like to do the discussion where basically we just talk about an article and we bounce ideas off of each other and what have you. This week, I picked the new Apple privacy thingamajig. Let me see. Let me get Apple's major privacy changes here. What you need to know. So this is a CNN article by Samantha Murphy Kelly in CNN Business. So the reason it's in CNN Business is because it changes the landscape of advertisers using Apple products to advertise to you. So it's kind of not unusual, but different. Like this one is for our protection, right? So in the latest iOS 14.5, Apple pushed the patch, which now requires apps to have to ask you permission for your location data and things of that nature. So you would think it's not a big deal, right? I already had that stuff cut off anyway. The majority of people do not have that stuff cut off, and their data is being tracked and sent to those application makers such as YouTube, Facebook, things of that nature. So if you are monitoring that stuff, good on you, but the majority of people do not. And what's crazy, and not really though, is that companies like Facebook are taking umbrage with this change in policy because it hurts them, right? The less data they can collect, the harder it is to advertise to you, and the harder it is to sell said data to companies to make a profit. So Facebook obviously jumped in, said, because they knew it was coming. So in December, Facebook took out ads in the New York Times, Wall Street Journal, and Washington Post, framing its objections around how the change will cause devastating harm to millions of small businesses that advertise on this platform, many of which are grappling with the fallout from the pandemic. So you can take it at face value and like it's Facebook looking out for the little guy, but really Facebook makes the majority of its revenue off of selling your privacy. It's in the EULA. They don't try to hide it, but now they will have to ask you to do that, and then you may say no, which would devastate them. Yeah. I think at one point they were saying they made about $12 per person, like per day or something ridiculous. I don't know, but it was like $12. That's what you're worth for this free application. You're worth $12, and you think in the grand scheme of things that's offensive, but when you add in billions of people who use this application, they're making buku bucks off of your data. So before I get into it too much, let me get your guys' opinions about this.
That sounds like it's it's a move in the right direction. The data privacy has always been a big thing. Although there's actually a few different companies that I became aware of in recent history, recent times that like Own Your Data Foundation is like a place that's like a nonprofit it works on like educating people on how they should be maintaining their data and securing their securing the information on the web, and it's kind of like it's more like, I don't know, cyber awareness, but it's like things like this though I think are good moves. Obviously tracking people's activities and the location, things like that is a concern for a lot of people, especially if you're in the military, if you're overseas somewhere and all of a sudden your phone is revealing your location. But even just for the common person, just to have like their data secure, that they're not worried about the company trying to use them to profit off of them to build up this profile, to know what you're buying and know where you're at, know how old you are, how what kind of person you are, what you look like, and all this kind of stuff. they're using this data to like sell it to other companies and to throw advertisements your way. But being able to like opt out of that, I think we talked about it earlier too before we started this podcast, that we try to like, I know Shannon does it, but I also try to make sure that my apps don't have my location unless I'm using the app. Like there's like sometimes options to set the permissions in the app when you install it or when you set it up, to make sure that it only tracks your location when you're running the app and not like just behind the scenes. So it's like constantly monitoring your activity and where you're going. Um, and you know, you can do simple things just like, trying to turn off your GPS and things like that. But I guess when in the long game too, and I was thinking about it as you were describing this, Ryan, that um, it's really tough to like really isolate yourself, like for these companies not to build a profile about you, because you're gonna, you have to log into your phone. You have to, like, I don't know, when you go to the web, you go to any website, it's gonna store a cookie unless you're browsing the whole time, like in an incognito mode, and then you go offline. You never log into any websites. You never go to your bestbuy.com, never go to Amazon, log in. You never go to, you know, target.com, wherever you're going. You're you have those profiles, and when you log in, they're going to see, oh, you came from this IP address. Oh, you log in, you're looking at this product that you're interested in buying, or you keep coming back, and you always go to this particular section of the website. So you're always going to be tracked somewhere. But it's always good to try to minimize it as much as you can, and like try to avoid companies from taking advantage of like your data and your privacy, um, especially when, I don't know, just in general too, just like outside of like companies stealing your data. But if somebody, I know I've seen people on Facebook and their posts like, "Oh, I'm heading out to my exotic location for like a couple weeks. Hope nobody breaks into my house while I'm gone," kind of thing. It's like, those kind of things are kind of like common sense things that people should be aware, not to like post your location. You post your location when you get back home after your vacation, and you say, "Hey, this is where I went. It's last week." Um, so people, if you want to give them the breakdown of your trip. But yeah, I think this is kind of like one of those things that I think I'm glad that Apple's making progress in securing. I hope that a lot of other companies start kind of take note of this. Other, like even Google. I'm not sure Google's doing something like this at all, but um, just try to make sure that it's kind of obvious to people that they can block these trackers, and don't make it like so hidden that you got to figure it out. Like, oh, I gotta be like an IT guru to be able to understand my phone and how to block companies from tracking my data. But you have some thoughts on that as well, Shannon?
So I do. So like what you were talking about with like the vacation thing, like in the military, they teach us that it's OPSEC, right?
Yeah.
So it's one of Operation Security. So it's one of those things where it's like, uh, don't put stuff on social media to tell people you're away from your house. Have somebody collect newspapers if you have them delivered so they're not piling up. Different
Hmm.
stuff like that. But the social media one is one that came around, wasn't always there, right? So like in the beginning of my career some years ago, when I was in the military, it wasn't something that came up, right? Like social media was not a big thing, but now it got into the later half of my career. Like almost everything we do has to incorporate social media. You know what I mean? But here's the thing with this. Here's my thought on this, right? So I like what Apple is doing because it is good for uh, me as I don't want to say a consumer, but the target of this data, right? It's good for me. Um, so for us being in cybersecurity and IT, like we know to do the different things that we're doing, right? When it comes to the location and the tracking and things like that. There are people out there right now that don't care. But you want to know when they'll care though, when they have to start paying for these free accounts they can sign up for. When you have to start paying for your Instagram, you have to start paying for your Facebook, you know what I mean? Your Twitter and all that. That stuff is free because they get advertisement for all this tracking and things like that they do, and your shopping habits and things of that nature, right? Nobody can. The majority of people out there do not care, right? Like they see the ads and they either click on it because it may be something that interests them. You know what I mean? Because they are pretty good about picking stuff that's specific to you, the user, right? If you haven't
Mhm.
protected your stuff, and they just go about their normal business. But yeah, like nobody. I don't think the majority of the world really is going to care about this. Like there are billions of Facebook accounts out there. And you said it was $12 a person. You think they're making off people, Ryan? I think was the figure you gave.
Yeah, it was a documentary on
Yeah,
Netflix. I was talking about big data, and it roughly averaged out about $12 per person who had an account.
and that's a lot. That's a lot, and that's one of those streams that can keep going, right? Because your interests change, right? So
Yeah,
like if you get on there and you look at something different, right? They're like, oh, okay, let's go this route now, right? We got them again. You know what I mean? That'll that'll teach you to let us track you. You know what I
That'll teach you.
mean? Yeah. But no, like I like what Apple did here, right? And maybe I'm a little more happy that I switched over. I don't know, LeVon. You sure you don't want to come over? Sure.
come on
Yeah, I'm
over.
having second thoughts now. Dang, I don't know.
Yeah. But no, but yeah, like that's the thing. Like people don't care until it affects them, right? Like when you start having to pay, even if it's a small amount, if you got to pay $5, a month to have a Facebook account, there are probably people that are not going to want to do it. You know what I mean? They're just like not even that they don't have the disposable income. They're just like I don't want to pay for it because it was free before. And I think Facebook knows this, which is why they're one of the big companies. It's like, hey, we're not a fan of this, because it could come down to a point where, they're public, right? They got shareholders to think about that. When that stock starts going down, people start jumping ship. All of a sudden, they got to do something to make that stock go back up again and get more people, investing in them, right? To see their company as worth whatever it's worth right now. I don't know what Facebook stock price is, but yeah, this is good for us as a again, I don't want to say consumer, right? But good for us as the data target. But yeah, for these big organizations and these big companies, yeah, I could see why they are worried because they're probably having boardroom meetings on this. Like, okay, well, what are we gonna do now, right? Like, what you will probably start seeing, and this is a guess. I'm not saying this is the case for sure, right? But you will probably start seeing these big major corporations either jumping on board or backing different like cell phone companies or different entities that are not Apple. Like that's what you're going to start seeing. That's
Yeah,
just my
no, that's true. Yeah, you definitely hit the nail on the head. Like I was going to bring that point out, but you beat me to it. Like the short term, long term ramifications. Like short term, Facebook may be correct because Facebook charges those companies to give them that data. They can't get that money from them. It's trickle down, right? Then at some point, maybe you pay $1 a month for a Facebook account in the far future. Um, if they can't work around, because I mean, they still have to ask you, and you still could opt in. Like maybe that'll be your key to get in. If you opt out, you got to pay $1.
Mm,
Opt
right.
in stays free. Who knows? Like who knows what the long term ramifications will be? But at least now, like the article says, at least now you have choice. Because before you had choice, but you had to dig into it. It was deep in those menus. Now it's going to be right in your face. Like, hey, do you want to share this information? And you got to make that choice and go from there. So I always hear like on a weekly basis, somebody will say, "Yeah, I was talking about something that popped up being advertised to me. Are they listening to me?" I don't think so. There's a lot that contradicts that. But
you don't think so? Hey, pick up your phone right now and go, "Hey Siri."
well, no, it is. Yes, it is listened to me. I can't say. I'm surprised they didn't pick up all those S's I just said, but I can't really say anything with an S because they're like, yes, but
Yes.
I don't believe that it's listening, stealing those words, and then advertising to me. I think it's between my searches, my friend history, all those things, like all that data mining. I think those numbers are being crunched. And that's how it's advertising. Like, oh, I was talking about buying a baby shower gift. All of a sudden, I start getting baby advertisements for like diapers. But you also have search history. You also have friends who have notified the world that they're having a baby. They combine the two things together. Maybe you want to buy them diapers. I don't believe it's actually Siri snitching to the because then there's other ramifications with that, right? And I don't think Apple or Google wants that smoke. So, but who's to say? Um, but yeah, I think we know it.
Yeah. Yeah.
we
No, I
we
think
were correct.
and
When I
as I
think it
think
was
about,
yeah. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, I didn't
No,
mean to
go
cut
ahead.
you
I'm
off,
sorry.
Ryan. I was just gonna say, as I read it and I think about my Google phone, I mean, so I mean, I get notifications when I install an app. It says, "Hey, do you want to allow permissions for this?" It'll show you like the permissions that are, that come with the app, and you can kind of allow or deny. Like if it, like when you open up the app, it says like if you want to allow it to track your location, or only do it when it's like, um, when the app is actually open.
And you see.
But Yeah, and actually, yeah, exactly. When the app is in
Right.
use. So I'm trying to think like, because I don't install apps all the time, but I don't know if that became like a standard. I know at some point I didn't see that as much, but now I feel like when I install like a few recent apps, and I think I saw that pop up, and it asked like, if you want your location shared while, when it's not in use or whatever. Uh, so I'm wondering if like that's kind of like, Apple's version of that, basically, that they're kind of doing the same thing. So for making it more official, and that like every app has to have that notification and make sure that it pops up on there and make sure that you have to confirm it. Because I've never had an Apple phone. I don't know how they operate with their app
Yeah.
installs and how they
I think it just makes it standard across,
yeah,
like, because every app asks you differently. Now it's like it's
yeah, you have
mandatory to
to,
ask you up front. Yeah.
right.
Um,
So that's
so
good.
I'm yeah, but it's always a loophole. Like this, they did what they could for what we currently know of. Like if Facebook thinks of another way of collecting your stuff, then you have to go through the whole rigmarole again to try to figure out how to stop them from collecting that. But at the end of the day, I say this all the time, and I always feel conflicted because I'm supposed to be a cybersecurity professional. I kind of like being tracked because then I don't like they advertise some good stuff. I wouldn't have thought of on my own. I'm like, oh, I do need that.
That's right.
But I'm paying a toll. There's a every time it happens, I'm paying a price. It's a slippery slope. But I love
Right.
my IoT devices. I love my what are they called? Targeted advertisements. Because I'm like, yeah, I do need that. I like that.
See, and that's why I don't like it, because then my income does become disposable. They call it disposable income, and then I'm
Right.
shopping for stuff I didn't realize I needed that. Yeah, because I didn't. No,
I honestly think they make products based upon things that they just look at all the data. They're like, he does need a two-wheeled unicycle that turns into a helicopter because he likes all these things. We should make this product. I'm
Right.
helping innovation happen.
I-
I
That's
can't
just
I can't dispute that.
yeah.
And they make new products based on my search. I don't know. Like again, it's a slippery slope. Like so, I'm actually going to go through and kind of check to see because I know I got pushed the patch, but I haven't seen a difference yet. But I also don't really download a lot of apps. Um,
It'll ask you when you start opening your apps, like, have you opened up all of your apps? Because it'll start asking you before you start using them again. Because that's what happened with
huh.
me. Is that when I
So
opened up the app, all of a sudden it came up. It came up on there, and I was like, huh.
I have not noticed it. I'm gonna have to open something new up because I'm looking to see if I got all my updates. Like, am I completely updated? Doing this live on the air. This is oh, I don't have it yet. It's sitting there waiting for me. I didn't
Ah,
get the prompt. It was like, hey, do you want to download and install this?
there you go.
That's why.
Aha.
Aha.
You didn't have a spoon, Ryan.
Yep. Yep. It's just sitting there. Yep. So I will notice tomorrow because I'm not gonna do it. Like I'm the type of person who will hold off until it's time for me to go to sleep. Not gonna get me during the day. I need access to my apps.
Right.
Hit me at night. But yeah, so I'll do it and then we can talk about it next week, like just the change and what I saw. But
Yeah, and
yeah, I think no, go ahead. Go ahead,
yeah,
Levon.
I've been going through my phone. I've been going through my Google phone, the top quality Google OS as it is, and I'm just looking through my apps and going through the location. Most of mine are set for like deny or only when in the app. Uh, and I was going to comment earlier when you were talking about getting tracked and liking it. Like, I don't mind it so much in
It
some
sounds
respects.
sounds terrible.
You,
Yeah,
you see
I
how
know.
it sounds coming from somebody else's mouth? See?
Yeah,
Like you don't want that. You don't want that in your life.
yeah. Well, I'll tell you this because like one thing I have like the Google like location like, so I get these emails once every like few weeks or a month or so um, from Google, and it actually show me where I've been, like, and especially when
Oh, okay.
I've traveling overseas. I was in Europe. Actually showed me like dots of like every like city I was in, and it's actually kind of cool to go back and like see that and see where I've been. And even when I'm
Right.
traveling with my job across the U.S. or across the world, wherever I'm at, it's kind of cool going back and seeing like, oh yeah, I've been to that city, I've been to that location. Because sometimes people even at home, people might have like a map and they put like little tags like where they've been in the
Yeah.
world. So it's almost like a digital version of that. So I'm able to see exactly where I've been, and it's actually kind of cool to see that information as opposed to being like, trying to remember, oh yeah, I think I was in that location, or that I think I was in that city at that time. So I could take, to that respect, I feel like it was actually pretty cool to have that information tracked and be able to
Right.
kind of refer back to it and see, oh yeah, I've been in this place. And even like locally, if I'm, I go up to San Francisco or something like that, I'm going to check out the Alcatraz, or I'm going to, some other place and hanging out. I can actually see the locations and I can see like, oh, this is the information about this location, some history about, Alcatraz, or if I'm going to like some of the restaurants out there, and I should kind of show you like where you've been. So it's kind of cool in that respect, but obviously, it's kind of concerning if they start taking advantage of it and all of a sudden you become like I don't know, just some source of income for these big tech
Right.
companies that already have a bunch of money as it is.
Right.
But
No, it's very true, and I do enjoy that too. Like when I had an Android, like when I had my Note 3, it would send me emails like, "Hey, there's a collage of like it would have like music and stuff." Like it was crazy.
yeah,
When I would travel, so that is pretty cool. But you got to pay the toll. Like you
gotta
want
pay
that
the
all that
toll.
cool stuff, got to pay the toll. Like
That's
they're
right.
tracking you. But before we get off, because we're about to get off, but before we get off, I just want to announce that live, I just saw we hit 1K listens. So that's
Dang.
pretty impressive, if I do not
That's
say
right.
so myself.
Yeah.
Toot my own horn.
And what's that?
So
That's through all the podcasts.
1,000 plays. Yep.
Nice.
So between the all the platforms we're on for audio, we just now hit 1,000 listens. So
Nice.
appreciate y'all. Keep it up. Share with your friends. Like share with your friends. Get us up to 1,500.
That's right.
But with that being said, it was a great discussion. Thank you, Shannon. Thank you, LeVon. Thank you to all those out there listening. Again, I think it's pretty impressive. Like I did not expect to see that. I actually went there to go look for something else, and it was like 1K. I was like, oh, look at that. So we enjoy doing this. This is definitely fun. Just and to keep us in touch with each other because we're all over the world right now. But keep tuning in. Remember to hit us up on the website www.theothersideofthefirewall.com, where you get to our Instagram, Twitter, all that good stuff. You hit me up personally on Twitter, LinkedIn, Clubhouse, IG, and TikTok at RY Security Guy. That's RY Security Guy. And LeVon?
You can hit me up on regular ass Twitters at LeVon Maynard.
There it
I
is.
ain't as cool as a RY Security Guy. I got all these platforms.
I'm trying. I actually have a family member who hates that title.
Really?
She's like, "Are you
cool.
too?" I was like, "I have much to work with."
Yeah. She just wants the one. It's like Rye, the security guy, just by itself.
Yeah, something. Yeah, but I'm like, hey, if people remember it, then I'm down for it.
Yeah.
But y'all take care. Be easy. Stay safe. Stay secure. All that good stuff.
Nice. Thanks, guys.